So these are the names of the people on the screen who you're going to hear from in a moment. And I just wanted to say thank you and welcome to them for making time to do this for me and for HDN, more importantly. It's very kind of you. I just approached them, they said yes. And I'm not surprised because the kind of people they are, they not only support the mentoring program as mentors, but they also support the program when, before the pandemic, we were looking for venues to run workshop sessions. These are the people who'd always stick their heads up and say, yes, come over here. This is where you can go. What do you need? And I, for one, have been very, very appreciative and grateful for what they've done for us on the program, just as colleagues as well as mentors. Good morning, welcome everyone. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen because now I'm going to say a little bit about the mentors. I'm going to say a little bit about Housing Diversity, the organisation behind the program, for those people who haven't heard of us or know very little. Housing Diversity Network is a social enterprise based in Bradford. I'm actually based in the east of England, in Hertfordshire, because when I first joined, I was the mentoring coordinator for East and Midlands. So it was kind of handy to be based where I am. I'm still based here, but I'm now the program's manager and have overall responsibility for the program. Housing Diversity is a membership-based organisation. Most of our members are social housing organisations like housing associations. We've got ALMOs, we've got a couple of construction companies. So a lot of related sector organisations are also members. And as part of the Standard Plus membership, you are allocated a number of places on the National Staff Mentoring Programme, which is very famous. And I can say that without any slightest bit of embarrassment because the programme existed before I joined HDN in 2018. And it's very well known and has won an award from the CIPD for its innovation at the time. And you'll hear a little bit more about that shortly. And apart from the staff mentoring program, we also run board programs. The first one is a board excellence program for existing board members, and the second one is the board diversity program. And both of those programs also include an element of mentoring. So actually, if you are an existing board member, as well as being a worker or a senior manager, and you think you would like to help us on those programs, you'd be more than welcome. And again, I'll leave information in the chat. What else would you like to know? So we're based in Bradford, but we have national coverage and our members come from all over the country. And on the screen, you can see some of the representatives of some of those organisations. That's it. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to drop information in the chat so you can pick it up. I'm now going to hand over to my guest mentors to say a little bit more from their perspectives about the mentoring program, why they are mentors on the mentorship program, and anything they want to say about encouraging more people to join them as HDN staff mentors. Is that okay? And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to ask one question and get everybody on the screen to answer the question in turn. And by all means, introduce yourself when you're answering the first question. So if you're ready, gang, let's start alphabetically. So it must be Cordelia. And Cordelia, please introduce yourself and then answer the question, why are you a HDN staff mentor?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cordelia Johnny. I'm from Stonewater. I'm the EDI lead. Why am I an HDN staff mentor? On a personal level, I'm an HDN staff mentor because I get a lot out of it. I became a mentor after attending a few HDN events and was approached by a past HDN colleague and said, you know, had I thought about being a mentor, and I hadn't. And I discussed it with my then manager, and she thought it'd be a great idea. When I joined, I never thought I would get so much out of it personally. But what I found is that it was really rewarding being able to share my knowledge and help somebody else on their career journey. But also in doing that, I was actually learning new skills, and I was actually able to develop myself. So I find the HDN, being an HDN mentor, a two-way thing. Not only do I get the opportunity to share and to help somebody develop and help them answer questions about where they want to be, what they want to do, what their career looks like, how they can progress, but I also learn from them. I've had the opportunity to learn a lot of new skills and to learn things like patience, which I never had before. Yeah, I find it really rewarding. I find the opportunity to meet new people, learn what different organizations are doing, and bring that learning back into Stonewater really useful. So yeah, I think it's a great project, and I will keep being a mentor as long as I'm asked. You're mute.
Thank you. I was typing in the background. Thank you, Cordelia. So next up would be Lynn. Please, Lynn, introduce yourself and why are you a HDN mentor?
Okay, thanks, Marie. Morning, everyone. I'm very honest about how I became a mentor. I was sort of press ganged into it because the previous chief exec officer from the HDN, I used to collect everybody and corral people into becoming mentors. And he said to me, you'd make a really good mentor. And I did try to wriggle out of it. I've got no previous mentoring experience whatsoever. No coaching experience, no qualifications at all. Sorry, I should have said I'm the Equality and Diversity Manager from Riverside, apologies. So I was sort of press ganged into it and did try to wriggle out of it for the one reason I thought I'd be no good at it. And because I had no previous experience, no qualifications. Anyway, I did do it and I thought, well, I'll just do it for a year. Anyway, 9 years later, I'm still doing it. I absolutely love it. And I echo very much what Cordelia said. It is a two-way process. It's great helping people and the barriers that they've identified, they feel is stopping them progressing. It's great trying to help them overcome them or look at things from a different point of view. But also to second what Cordelia said, you do learn from it. So it's mutual benefit to you and the mentee. And what I have learned is patience. I'm not a very patient person, and sometimes I just want to jump in quick and give someone a solution. But this mentoring program is about helping people to find their own solutions. So you do have to pull back and not automatically jump in with what you think might be the best solution or a good way forward. So yeah, it has made me a little bit more patient. Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you, Lynn. Right, so alphabetically, that would be, help me out here, that would be Sheila. Thank you, yes.
Morning, everybody. My name's Sheila and I'm the L&D business partner at Stonewater. So I actually work with Cordelia. And I joined the programme mainly because I was working with Cordelia and found out about it. But also having been a line manager in the past and worked in youth groups, I've seen the real big life-changing impact mentoring can have for people. And sometimes it's just spending that little bit of time with somebody and helping them on their journey. And I love to encourage people and empower people. And that's what I found with this program is you can do that. You know, you can help somebody. Sometimes you don't even realize some of the stuff you're saying is the nugget that they take away and work on and actually sets them on the right road for their own path. And I think that's an important thing to remember is it's their path. It's not what you think might be a good thing for them. So some of the challenges, I think, as Lynn was saying, it's not saying, I think you need to do that. It's actually, so where do you think you need to go now? What do you think you need to do? And if you haven't done mentoring before, I think all you really do need to have is an inquisitive nature because, you know, curiosity stops judgment. So if you're inquisitive, that's really good. And it's about exploration with that individual. And if you can help them explore stuff and they can then discover things about themselves and about, you know, where they want to go and whatever, that's all you really need to do. So almost anybody can do that if you've got an inquisitive nature, perfect to be a mentor. You will learn skills along the way, as Cordelia said, patience, and Lynn, patience is really important, so you don't jump in. But to me, that's why I became, I think, you can make a big life-changing event for somebody, and you can learn a lot from it. Part of what I learned was about taking my own medicine. I can be really good at offering up ideas and suggestions and pointing people in the right direction. Sometimes I need to reflect and think, am I actually doing that for myself? So that was one of the big things I found. It's actually really good for self-reflection.
Powerful. Thank you, Sheila. Okay, so over to Tim, and then we'll come to Tosin.
Good morning. My name's Tim Hughes. I was a chief executive for 30 years, serving two very different organisations, but now I'm retired. And while I was chief executive, I benefited myself from executive coaching as a CEO, which provided me some space and time to reflect with somebody who wasn't connected with the organisation that I had responsibility for. And it was time for me to tell the truth about the struggles I was having as a chief executive. Everybody puts you up on a pedestal and thinks you have all the answers, but you often don't. So for me, I gained the benefit of having had mentoring. And as I approached retirement, I'm retired now, I had a conversation with somebody who introduced me to Housing Diversity Network. And I got involved through that particular connection. I didn't know about the organisation before, but I got a sense of the ethos and the values that echoed my own personal values. And I suppose what drives me is an obligation to use in some way my experience, my life experience, to help others, who in turn are helping tenants and residents and people in social housing. And it's about supporting individuals to develop and thrive in the workplace. And I underestimated as a manager myself how much of my time is actually spent on mentoring individuals, helping them find their own solutions. And it's easy, as others have said, to jump in with your answer, but I believe that this programme is ultimately about listening and reflecting back to people what you hear. And so I initially started off as a mentor for the board programme and enjoyed it thoroughly. That was while I was working. And I've continued since I retired working on the staff programme with Maureen. It's different, and I had to adjust the approach, but it's basically the same. And I've mentored two people this year. I mentored one person the year before, and it's kind of interesting just to see the contrast between two different individuals. And what I get back to some extent is connection with younger people. I mean, I'm not that old, but there's something about a different generation of people working in housing now, and what they're interested in and what I can learn from that. And ultimately, I think what you're offering as a mentor, I believe anybody can be a mentor. I don't think there's any qualifications required other than the ability just to listen and to actually absorb what somebody's saying. And that I think it's special for people at this level in organisations to have some time which is totally their own. It doesn't belong to anybody else. They're not getting advice from their boss, their colleagues, their friends, or their family members. This is for them, and it needs to be very special. So I spend my time just listening and saying what I heard, and inviting people to reflect on, did I listen properly to what you said? And I think you ultimately get people to a better place thinking about their own strengths and their own needs. And I think the particular pleasure I get is going away and every now and again hearing in the future about how somebody's progressed. You know, maybe they've been selected for something, or they've got a new job, or something's happened in their life. So you're a bit like I don't mean to be this in an ageist sense, you're a bit like a grandparent, seeing somebody perhaps every year or two and hearing some news. So it's nice to feel it's not just for here and now, but you're offering something to individuals on their work and personal journey.
Thank you so much, Tim. And finally, but not leastly, Tosin, please introduce yourself and say a little bit why you're HDN mentor.
Good morning, everyone. And so my name is Tosin Adewumi. I am Community Development Manager at Origin Housing. I think everyone said everything already, so was like the last one. But the reason why I joined HDN program, mentoring program, is because I really benefited from mentoring myself. So my transition from into management, mentoring really played a big role. So I had a mentor, and during that journey, and also around the same time, while I was kind of moving into that, looking to kind of move into management and having mentoring at that time, my manager suggested me actually mentoring other people as well. So, and that's when I was linked to Maureen, and I just, yeah, I think because I've benefited so much from mentoring myself, I know the benefit of it, and that kind of yeah, it kind of drives me to want to help other people, to kind of, especially those people who are just on that borderline, trying to, for so long you're stuck in that, and wants to get into that management level, and you've kind of, what do I do? And just having someone else that's gone through that experience, and just being able to kind of listen and support people in that journey. And I really get joy. I've mentored 2 people so far, and just the joy in seeing their progress. Sometimes I get messages and saying, this is what I'm doing now, and just, it's really just great to see their progression. And again, the listening for me is kind of the most important thing. And sometimes it is easy to kind of want to jump in, but that's what I've learned, to kind of really just take time to listen to people, and also self-reflection as well. I think someone says that as well, in terms of, sometimes I'll say something and then they'll come back as, oh, that really helped me, and I'll be thinking, why don't I do that for myself? Actually, that's actually a good one. And then I'm thinking I should be doing that too. So sometimes, yeah, you actually, it really does help self-reflection. And someone else mentioned about two-way learning. I've worked with people in different organizations, so I've learned from their way of doing things. There's things that I've said, oh, that's really good, we don't actually work in that way, so I'm going to use that, and kind of take that back to our organization. So that's kind of, is kind of one of my mentees for us, is we've moved to kind of a peer support level, because he's now moving to management now, and it's sort of like we touch base sometimes on, oh, how are you doing this, and we work in similar area of work. That was my first mentee, so, and that's really been good. During the pandemic, we shared things about how we transit into doing stuff online, because I'm responsible for resident engagement, so we kind of shared ideas about how we're engaging our resident and share best practice. So it's also it's kind of two-way thing. So if you're considering it, don't think that everything falls on you. Actually, it's about, when you're listening to other people, you don't have all the answers. It's about kind of talking through, some people just having someone to kind of bounce the ideas, a sounding board. So it's kind of just you just see things naturally progress in terms of the conversation, you listening and reflecting back what they're saying. Sometimes even within that, answers will come. So I think, like, don't put pressure on yourself to think, okay, I have to have the experience of mentoring before, like Lean was saying, but go into, if you're wanting to help, you have passion to kind of help someone else in terms of progressing their career, or just help them build confidence, if just go for it. So it's been, yeah, a great experience, and yeah, I will continue to mentor.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Tussin, everyone. Hopefully our attendees today can also see that, in addition to the things that you all said, it's, for me, if I may, it's also something to do with you as people that makes the mentoring work. I think your personalities are coming across. No judgment here. This is warm, people friendly. All these things help. But yeah, you're all very individual. So, I just want to reinforce what you said. Please bring yourself to mentoring. You don't have to be an expert. However, I think some of you have perhaps sold yourselves short, that the skills you develop as mentors, why you're effective as mentors, is because you are particularly good at listening, you're particularly good at analysing, you're particularly good at staying objective. And I think those things can be developed. So I just wanted to throw that in. The next question for all of you is, if you haven't already answered it, is to add to the question of, what's the best thing about mentoring? If you've already said it in your introduction, that's fine. If there's something additional you want to add, anyone, I'm not going around the screen. If you want to answer that question, what's the best thing about mentoring that you want to add to what you've already said? Yes, Lynn.
Hi, I was going to say, when you think back about your own housing career, or your career elsewhere for that matter of fact, when you think back to people who've helped you when you were younger or more junior, and it might have been on an informal basis, but you think that person helped me and that person made me see things this way. So although I was dragged into it kicking and screaming and was very scared in case I was rubbish at it, I just think it's good to be able to give something back and to think about someone helped you so you can then help somebody else. That's the other thing I was going to add to that.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Maureen.
Best thing about mentoring as a mentor, yes, Tim and then Cordelia.
I think particularly it's worthwhile drawing attention to the fact that the mentoring one-to-one relationship is part of a broader program. So you're not being set up in a rather detached way to have a relationship. You're fitting into a structured program that runs throughout the year, and you're meeting people individually between each of the group sessions. So you're complementing what goes on in the group. So people are learning in two different distinct ways. They're learning with professionals like Maureen and others who are guiding the group, but they're learning from their peers. But they're also bringing that back into the discussion with you. So I'm always interested to know, what did you get out of the latest group session, and what particular was something you'd like to talk to me about, so that there's a complementarity between the two different elements of the program, which I think gives it a great value to the individual.
Brilliant, thank you. Cordelia.
I would also like to add, taking the time to get to know the individual. My mentees have been, every one of them's been different, very unique. And I've really enjoyed taking the time to get to know them and being able to share part of myself with them and also learning a bit about them. So I've really enjoyed that element of it.
Brilliant, thank you. Any more answers? Otherwise, I'll move on to the, Sheila, yes.
For me, it's just going to reflect back a little bit on what Tim said earlier on. It's about sharing in their growth and seeing their confidence develop and them having a better understanding of where they might want to go. And then also, seeing their successes. And as Tim said, it's not just about during the program, but it might be afterwards, and thinking that actually that's really important. For me, I find, that helps me think, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I want to put the time in. This is why I'm taking things forward, because you can see it's having an impact. And I think for me, that's the best thing. And Tim's right, it's about the whole program. It's about reflecting on what they've learned from each session. It's about, is there anything they want to work on? Is there more stuff in that session that they want to look at? So there's also some structure that helps you as a mentor. If you're not sure about it, that it's already there as well to help you through the process. You've got stuff you can ask. So, but yeah, it's sharing in their successes is what I think is wonderful.
Do you want to come back?
Yes, just one thing. I defy any mentor not to be inspired by the final celebration and seeing your mentees, how your mentees have progressed and how great they are and how proud you get to be, thinking, that's my mentee. Yeah. So, yeah, I really love that bit of it as well.
And none of you have been given money to say these things, have you?
No.
You can confirm no.
Because later.
Because you know what, I've hardly sold the program, but you're doing it for me. I'm doing it for HDN, so thank you for doing that. Because I want it to be authentic, what we're doing today, rather than me saying what is expected me to say. So the next question. So because we're realists and we're honest, shall we move on to the next question, which is, okay, it's not always rosy, is it? Being a mentor and being on the mentoring program. I can say that as a programs manager, sometimes we hear the occasional bit of feedback about how things are going. So in the spirit of this authenticity, what's the worst thing about being a mentor? Sometimes. I know it's wonderful most of the time. Yes, Cordy.
When you initially don't connect with your mentee, I had an experience where I didn't initially connect to my mentee. We very different personality-wise. I was quite laid back. She was quite tightly wound. She wanted everything done now. And I was quite laid back about it. And she had the opportunity to complain to HDN and said she may want a new mentor because her mentor was too laid back and didn't respond immediately. We had a session with HDN, and I'm grateful that HDN was involved in the program. We had a session where we both laid our cards on the table, and we were able to resolve the situation and meet in the middle. And it became a really successful mentoring relationship. But yeah, it's really hard to hear that your mentee hasn't connected with you, or may not like you, or may not like a part of who you are. Yeah, I found that really tough. And I promised that I would always try to be able to read my mentees better and connect with them better, because it's not always easy the first time round.
Hats off to you, Cordelia, because it shows your true leadership, that you didn't give up. You kept going forward. Love it. Thank you. So what's the worst bit about, if there's a worst bit for you, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Or, yes, Tim.
I suppose this is more a reflection of the fact that I've been with the programme when we were working face to face, and I used to meet people, and clearly moving to online relationships is tough for anybody. And for me, because I'm retired and therefore haven't had to use Zoom, I had to learn how to use Zoom and realize where are you looking for the cues that you generally get when you're looking at somebody's body language and face-to-face communication. So for me, that was hard going. And I had to put more effort into getting to know somebody myself. I felt I had an obligation to get to know that person more. So I started to invent a few different ways of trying to better say something about myself, put myself into the picture, so I wasn't some anonymous person, because there's a matching process, and you end up with somebody who clearly is anxious about who this mysterious person is that they've been linked up with. So trying to kind of smooth that path over Zoom is harder than face to face, but I've learned a few techniques in the process.
Hats off to you as well, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah, just following what Tim said, I think I find doing it not in person this time, online also challenging on both sides, in terms of just to be present, because I find that my mentee as well, I think because they're working on the screen and they can be getting work emails at the same time, so sometimes not sure if they're really present. And also challenge for me, because I have to make sure if I don't put do not disturb and forget to put that, people can still try and contact me and things like that. So I think I think after what we kind of talked about, just carving out the time where we've made the time to have the catch up, to make sure that we try to be present and try all we can do in terms of letting the rest of the organization know that I am away. So it's quite challenging in that sense in terms of online. And I think another thing that it's not the worst thing, but sometimes I have experienced where my mentee would change the meeting at the last minute. So it's kind of like you've planned that, okay, you're gonna do. I'm a planner, and my timetable is very kind of, so to kind of get it like just half an hour before we were meeting, it's kind of can be a bit annoying. But then it's kind of understanding that sometimes work can come in, and I guess with the situation of the lockdown as well, the pressure on some of our work is kind of it's been quite difficult for some work areas that you might be needed, and that you just not to take it personal. I've learned not to take it personal. Things can change, and it's just accepting that it's not that they don't value the time, it's just things can change as long as they explain, and just take it lightly and not take it personal.
Really good point. I'm not taking things personally. And just to chip in that and make reference to what Tim was saying, that your mentoring is part of a program, and we do try to also train, that's the right word, develop and coach the mentees to be better mentees, because that's also a skill. And for a lot of people coming on the programme, this kind of opportunity is the first time they've had it. And we, from our point in the office, we get a sense of, for them, it's like it's rabbits in headlamps. They don't always know how to behave, and it's almost as if some people have to learn to be a mentee. And we do say about respecting the mentor's time. We do try and help from this end and put it in the personal development log, just to reassure people. But I do respect what you've just said, Tosin, that you recognise where perhaps they're coming from or what their situation is. And all of you have mentioned patience is part of being with people. Lynn, yes, Lynn?
I was just going to say, so in the 9 years, I've only had one relationship that didn't work out at all, despite best efforts. So what I was going to say to prospective mentors is, and this applies to mentees as well, if you find there are a couple of sticky issues and things ongoing, is definitely speak to your coordinator, who'll be able to advise and support you and maybe shed some light and some perspective on, because they obviously see the mentees in the classroom workshops. So I'd say definitely anyone today who's becoming a mentor, if there's any problems, speak to the coordinator for their region.
Excellent, thank you. Has everybody gone who's wanted to go about bursting? Then the final question is, and I think Lynn, you've kind of started us off with advice. So for somebody who's looking to sign up for the first time, or maybe they've already signed up, so it's too late, they can't turn back. How are you gonna, what would you share with them that if you'd known when you signed up, you would have put into practice? What advice would you like to share? What wisdom, especially somebody starting this for the first time? So who feels like going first in answering? Yes, Sheila.
I think this links into what quite a few people have said already, but it's about listening. And it links back into Stephen Covey's listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to reply. So really listen to your mentee and hear what they're saying, but also hear what they're not saying. Because sometimes they're there and their goal might not be their goal. It might be a goal that their line manager has set and they've not really invested in it. Or there might be something else that's really pressing for them, but they're not quite wanting to say it yet, but really listen to them and take on board what they've said. Set your boundaries at the beginning as well. So you're clear about how long you can chat, when they can chat, they can phone you anytime. If not, how do you want them to contact you? But also be mindful that sometimes people don't want to bother you. So even if you say, yeah, phone me anytime if you've got an issue, if you're following this through and you want some support, they might not do that. So sometimes checking in with them with just a little email saying, hey, how things going, can be enough for them to actually say, well, actually, I'd like to talk about this to move this bit on. So I think sometimes just taking that step. And I think the very last thing from that is just finding out how much challenge and support they might want. So, you know, do they want you to challenge them in a nice way, or do they just want you to give some support? So get some of those kind of things out so you know where you can pitch and how they want to work. That's probably it from me at the moment.
Fabulous. Thanks, Sheila. More advice. Cordelia.
It's a really great program. So I would say to mentors, whilst it is quite serious and you can be dealing with serious issues and you are dealing with supporting somebody who may be making career advice or wanting to consider changes to their career, still take the time to enjoy it. Still take the time to get to know your mentee and really enjoy the program. It goes so fast, and once it's over unless you're lucky enough to have been able to build a relationship that you can carry on after. So take the time to enjoy it and ensure that your mentee has the opportunity not only to learn and to be supported, but to enjoy the process. Yeah, I think that's really important.
All fabulous advice. Thank you, Cordelia. Yes, Tim.
I think it's useful in the context of the programme as a whole to have a sense about what each of the group workshops are about, so that you know in advance that there would be 4 of those, what the kind of broad content is. I mean, I'm sure it changes according to the group, but there's something about just understanding the context within which you're working. for me, I've developed this over time, but I realized that if you have too long in the first session and pitch into things too early, then you miss an opportunity just purely to say, this is who I am, who are you? So I have a very short introductory session, just to say, this is who I am, who are you? And the individual will have written down on their application form some goals that they think they have. And as the process goes on, you can realize some of those are quite well described, but for some other people, they haven't actually even worked out what their goals are. So to try and understand early on, what do you think this person really wants to try and achieve? So the two things for me are recognizing that a short period of time getting to know somebody allows the mentee to go away and the mentor to go away and have a think. Who have I met? What were they saying? What weren't they saying? How does it relate to the application form, which you'll see that they made when they applied for the program? And give them a bit of time to think about, gosh, you know, who is this person? So the next time you meet for a longer period of time, you could be a bit more focused.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tim. Any more advice? Right, I'm going to say this. I invited Tim to come along because I actually approached him. I hope I'm not embarrassing you, Tim. I actually approached him a couple of years back to mentor me because I was supporting another associate on the board program. And that's when Tim was a board member mentor. And I just liked the way he was dealing with his mentee. And I thought, well, you know, I'm working on the staff mentoring program, and we're always being encouraged to get a mentor for ourselves. And so, unlike what we normally do, I did get the chance to choose someone, and I chose him deliberately because we were so opposite. Rather than going for somebody who looked and sounded like me and has a similar background, I actually appreciated how different we were, and I thought I would like to work with this person. So I've now embarrassed him. Everybody knows now. And what I got so that's another thing about our program, because we do the matching normally for most people, is that we're trying to take away the kind of personal biases that we may hold around who I should be matched with, which I think is a really strong feature of our program, is that despite what Push Farm might be saying, that's the digital platform that you register on, we are still doing the matching because we base it on what the mentee says they need and what the mentor says they can offer, apart from, you know, me, but that was different because I saw his application. Anyway, the other thing is that also supports EDI because, again, it's not about focusing on this person's job title. You know, I want a senior manager who's got a background in asset management. You may well want that, but we might match you with somebody completely different because that may be actually who you need. So as mentors, I just want to reinforce what you're bringing to the party, who you are, and as you can see, these individuals on screen, their personalities are coming across. That's the magic for me, is in how you're being. And I really love the comments you're making about getting to know the individuals, and they get to know who you are, not just a mentor, but as a person, human, with your uniqueness. I think that's part of the magic. So thank you so much for sharing your advice.
So I've got a question for Lynn. Lynn, you said after this you're going to go back and spread the word.
Yeah.
So how are you going to approach that when you go back?
Okay, so the other week I had a conversation with Maureen, who was saying they were short in London, but short generally everywhere. So what I did, we our mentors, we had about 4 or 5. We've got a leadership group email. There's about 38 people. So I just sent an email. I explained what the HDN program was all about. I put in some information about myself, that I've been doing it for so long. I then was very careful to put in a bit about time commitment, which I won't talk about now in case Maureen's going to talk about that later on. But I spoke about time commitment and that it really didn't, over the year, the school year, it doesn't add up to that much at all. And I was so delighted. So within an hour, I think I got about 9 or 10 new mentors just from our leadership team. So that'll be directors and heads of. So, and some of them are here today. So I was absolutely delighted. And I've written a note for myself to go back to the leadership group, But also underneath that leadership group are people who don't sit in that group, who'll be senior managers. So the leadership group people shared it with managers as well, and that's how I think I got so many people. But I am like a little Jack Russell Terrier, and I will go back and hopefully try and get some more from Maureen.
I love this. We've got some questions coming in now. So Gemma says, how do you help a mentee who wants a mentor but doesn't know what they want from their mentor? Because it's almost like a buzzword for people to get a mentor. Anyone got any advice for Gemma?
Well, I think in their application, they've put down what they feel their blockages are, don't they? The part where they have to rate how confident they feel or how not confident they feel. And that is what's used in the matching process. For those who don't know, they'll match you with someone, with a mentor who's got strengths in the areas that you've identified that you feel particularly weak in. So that's how you'll know what obviously their aims are. But obviously that does come out in the first session as well, when you get to know your mentee.
Yeah, you can tease that out. You can tease it out from them. You know, in that first session, the discussion should help, and you can tease it out, because sometimes you'll get a mentee who thinks they want one thing, but actually they want something else. And that'll come out when you start teasing it through.
So we've also got a question from Karen, who wants to know, how long does the programme last for each mentee, please?
So it's like a school year, I always describe it. It starts September and runs till about May. So it's just like a school year. And then the graduation ceremony that hopefully you'll all be able to listen to in a minute, and that takes place in June each year, which is, as we all know, absolutely lovely, lovely celebration. And if one of my fellow panel members before said you feel very proud. It's like it's your own child graduation. It's lovely.
It is. It's really lovely. We've also got something from Lisa, who says, do you have to be a manager to be a mentor?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
You don't have to be a manager. You just have to have a curiosity and an interest in people. And I think that's probably all you really need to be a mentor. And everything else you can get support around from the Housing Diversity Network and from other mentors that you get to meet when you go to some of the sessions and things like that. So that'll be good. We've got a question about, what techniques did you use to make sure you were giving this the time needed, particularly thinking of balancing against work pressures? Anybody want to pick up on that one? Oh, Tim?
I'll have a go at that. I particularly try to book sessions in advance, so that it's not a haphazard process of meeting up, that there's an expectation of meeting between each of the group sessions, but that there's a date set in the calendar, which can change, obviously, if somebody's very busy. I therefore myself have time to prepare for the next session. So I look back over the notes that I might have made, spend time in the bath thinking about what could be the content of the next session. So I try to sort of guide the next session by having a bit of an agenda, but it's very flexible and we can throw it out the window if it doesn't work. So there's some sort of advance warning of what we might talk about. And it's often just reflecting on what you took away from the last session, what you've learned in the group session. So I think it's possible to manage the time quite well. You do, as Cordelia said, get those situations where somebody at the last minute says, I can't make it. And it is irritating at times, but generally speaking, I say, well, if you want to change it, that's fine. It's within your gift, it's your session. So don't feel that you're obliged to meet when we've agreed. But there's something that emerges about the contract, in a sense, you have between each other about how much time you're putting in on either side. And it isn't onerous, as long as you've got a time just to reflect yourself about what you've been hearing and what you can take to the next session.
Thank you, Tim. So we've also got a question from Tanya as about, what support do mentors get? Who'd like to pick up on that? I know we've covered a little bit of it already.
They get the HDN sessions. So they get 4 HDN sessions, and they also get the mentoring sessions from your mentor. how many of those they actually get depends on who your mentor is. There's a suggested minimum, and some give the minimum, some give a lot more. It depends on what your mentee needs. So they do get quite a lot of support. Particularly, I've attended the mentee sessions, and they get quite a lot of support, quite a lot of information in those sessions. One of the things I would say is, as mentors, encourage them to fill out their star log, so that they collate all of that information that they've gained and all of the successes that they've had throughout the program, and they can use that at a later date, particularly when applying for new roles or new jobs. So yeah, they do end up getting quite a lot of support.
So there's lots of stuff there for our mentees, but more for our new mentors. What kind of support do we think that is provided for our new mentors?
I've mentored in a couple of regions, and I know, like in the London region and in the Southwest region, mentors get peer support. So there are some peer support sessions that they have, and also you can link in with other mentors. So you've got like a phone call. They're a phone call away where you can call them and ask for support. So there is support out there for mentors, and you can also talk to HDN.
Okay, so I'll butt in at this point. Thank you so much, Kathy, especially around that question. So at the beginning, because you're all so experienced, you've probably forgotten that we have a briefing session at the start of the program. Because you know what it is. So there's a briefing session at the start of the program. There's the peer support or the action learning session or the mentor support session halfway through. There's an optional mentored skills training session, especially for new mentors. So that's in addition to the briefing, and that's delivered by the regional coordinator that some of you have referenced, because the program is organised on a regional basis, and each region has its mentoring associate, and they are responsible for delivering it in that region. So they will deliver that if there's a demand in that region for mentor skills training. So there's a briefing, an optional mentor skills training, a mid-program mentor support meeting or peer support meeting, and at the end, well, we just ask for people's views about the experience. We also provide resources, and Sheila was asking me already this morning that we need to revise our log that we will put up onto Pushfar, which is our new digital platform. I think you can see that I've been joined by one of my colleagues from HDN, who is going to be putting on the video from his end when he's ready. He'll let me know when he's ready, and then we'll roll that.
Maureen, there's a question.
Okay.
Before he puts it on, there's a question for you. Sim has asked about, is the plan for it to be a fully digital, fully virtual program this time, or
okay? What? It's a good question, and I've been asked that by the associates as well, who are personally responsible for delivering it. And what I'm saying at the moment is, you know, the group sessions that you've talked about, those will be online, because we did that last year, and that works. It kind of works. We know we have to improve on it and so on, but that works. But as soon as we have clearance from the government, you know, as soon as we have that confidence, we want to have networking sessions happen face-to-face regionally that will supplement the online input. So if you like, we want to guarantee that kind of taught bit, because that's the CPD bit, and we want to make sure it happens regardless of what's going on in the country around pandemics. So that will be online. We will also encourage mentees to meet, to network in person. So then that won't be focused on the taught training bit. That will be about them growing their networking skills as soon as everybody feels safe to do so. That, I think, is a thing in progress, because some of our members, they withdrew their staff from the program in 2020 before we did. So it's a kind of negotiation between the employing organisation and our own confidence. I mean, we're going to be running a conference in October, so we feel it's okay to come out again. But But that's the aim, because it was fully face-to-face, as you know, up until last year. It was a face-to-face program. We did nothing online. Having said that, though, there was always the plan to run some of it online. So in a way, we're not going to go completely backwards around that. We're going to have the group sessions, because there's definitely been some advantages. People have been able to attend when traveling 20, 30 miles wasn't possible sometimes because it's organised regionally. So that's the answer for now, but it's a great question and we're going to keep working on it and promoting it, what the answer is. But for now, the start, the briefing, it will be online, it will be virtual, but we will be building the face-to-face opportunities as soon as we can. Is that a fair answer? So thank you. Brilliant, thank you. I knew you could do that. I could just go away and let you carry on. Anyway, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to be responsible and say to Michael, who's behind the scenes, thank you for turning up. And when you're ready, thank you, Sim. Thank you. When you're ready, Michael, roll that film for me and hopefully everyone can hear it.
When I met my mentor, Anna Bishop, I felt a bond straight away. We seemed to just click. I was surprised at how easy it was to talk to her, and I couldn't believe the things that she had me speaking about. It was as if I'd known her for years. When I watched her on Teams, she oozed confidence and I loved her speaking style. I knew straight away that was exactly how I wanted to come across. Because she made me so comfortable, she took away my fear and she helped me shine. I'd recommend this programme to other colleagues because I really feel this is the type of programme that can unlock your true potential. For me, I've started an anti-racism task force. This has been huge, especially after the killing of George Floyd. We knew we wanted to do something, so we stepped up and we made sure that that's happened. We now have a group of over 30 people who are also involved in this anti-racism task force. I've also spoke about this at the Place Shapers event, which is a huge, huge event. Before HDN, there's no way I would have been able to speak about something like this, such an emotive subject. But I have got the confidence now to really, really express myself and express myself through events such as Place Shapers. The ART is something I'm very, very proud of. If you're inspired by us and what we've said, HDN is definitely a programme for you. It's not just helped me in my professional life, it's also helped me in my personal life as well. I've got two young girls, they're both at school age, and every now and again they come home and they're a little bit down, and I've got the confidence now to push them that little bit further. I can inspire them. It feels like I can actually mentor them because I know the right words to use to help them, to push them to where they need to be. I just know this course has helped me so much in my personal development. I'll be able to use the skills in everything I do.
The mentoring programme came at just the right time for me. I had just returned from maternity leave after taking the longest time off since starting in housing 13 years ago. I know, I don't look old enough. But seriously, coming back and having changes in our team, in our department and the business really knocked my confidence and made me feel like I was surplus to requirements. But I have got what I wanted from the mentor programme and then some. My lovely mentor Gina has been so brilliant and I've really benefited from her experience and her impartial views as a manager, and it's given me a different insight to the route I'm taking and has made me see my career in a more positive light. The workshops, the webinars, talking to other mentees, has expanded my view of housing, improving my drive and my focus and making me more productive, and helped me see a lot more through to completion. I've taken the initiative more in my day-to-day and I don't need to keep asking for advice. I volunteered to join our brand new gender network. I volunteered to co-chair it. I volunteered to give this presentation to you today, and I also volunteered to chair that group. I'm volunteering all over the place nowadays. I speak with authority about asset management because I know I have the knowledge, and without the mentoring programme I would never have done that. I threw myself into this programme because I had nothing to lose, and I am so glad I did.
I've gained an insightful and professional relationship, which has also been inspiring. Our meetings and conversations have covered a wide range of topics. These have been motivating and helped develop my skills and behaviours. I am more confident with my own personal development now. My main objective was to reignite my desire to learn and progress. The HDN course has done that for me by allowing me the opportunity to attend a wide range of productive and enjoyable workshops. I've had the opportunity to build a fantastic connection with my mentor, who has inspired me to develop my skills and behaviours in my day-to-day interaction.
Before the HDN program, I would say I sometimes struggled with my confidence, being able to contribute to meetings, especially meetings that had more than 5 persons in it. However, I would say since joining the program, I've developed and picked up soft skills that have been able to help me build my confidence, to be able to help me get clarity when I communicate with people. And I want to say thank you. In supporting my personal development journey, I would say I found the workshops and meetings with my mentor very, very productive. I would say apart from learning to be more assertive and increase my confidence, I've been able to understand my values and personality as a person, and how I can build on my strengths and weaknesses to allow me progress in my workplace. If you're looking to increase your confidence level and further develop your professional skills, I would recommend this program to you because it gives you that practical steps to be able to validate some of your professional behaviors with a mentor, but also offers you a network of resources across the housing organization, which you're able to interact and grow your own network. I want to say thank you to my mentor, Rebecca Murphy. It's been a great learning experience for me so far, and also to thank my organization, One Manchester, for offering me the opportunity to join this program.
Hi, my name is Annette Andrew, a team leader representing Evolve Housing and Support. I just want to talk a little bit about my journey on the mentoring program. Before I joined the mentoring program, I lacked confidence in public speaking, which was a huge barrier for me. I would avoid attending professional meetings. I would make every excuse not to attend. I would sit in fear in the meetings, just not knowing how to engage or sound my voice. But being supported along my journey with my mentor, Dami, has been a great experience, which has increased my confidence. I am now able to chair and lead on professional meetings. I am now getting involved in decision making and being vocally interactive. This is all down to my mentor, Dami, who's been a great support on my journey.
I would 100% recommend the programme to another colleague with a massive go for it. I would encourage them to embrace the journey with both hands. You will only get out of it what you put in. And as long as you are prepared to tackle your fears and challenge yourself to achieve your goals, your outcome will be your own successes. The newfound confidence as you start to have your voice heard and develop your new skills that you may have never thought you could have achieved in your wildest dreams is such a great feeling. The world is your oyster. Go and grab those opportunities with both hands and conquer your fears. You can do it. I did.
Is there something that mentoring's had me doing differently? I'm changing my email language, I'm reaching out for advice, I'm proactively facing my challenging tasks, I'm networking, I'm setting long-term goals, my self-talk was positive, I'm speaking up in meetings, I'm thinking far more strategically, I'm lifting up my colleagues, my objectives are smart, and I'm asking for feedback. I'm not sure about you, but this mentoring program has had me busy.
Through the HDN mentoring program, I gained more than a mentor. I got reunited with an old friend and colleague from 11 years ago. I used to be one of those people that would sit in meetings too scared to speak. After a few sessions with my mentor, he gave me some homework. He said I had to speak at the next meeting, and guess what? I did. And from that day, I lost my small voice. Since then, I've been participating in meetings. I've chaired 2 sessions at the National Housing Federation's Finance Conference, and I will be chairing more sessions at the Leaseholder and Tenants Service Charges Conference on the 6th of July 2021. I would like to thank the National Housing Federation for this fantastic opportunity, to the HDN team for a brilliant program, and my mentor Joe Williams for his advice and support. Since joining the program, a lot of things have changed. I am now on a secondment as a policy officer, and as a result of this secondment, I'm now leading on a flagship initiative called Together with Tenants. I've been able to gain a deeper understanding of this important relationship between landlords and residents. The HDN journey doesn't end now. If anything, this is just the beginning. We need to be able to use the skills that we have gained to progress our careers.
Being part of the HDN staff mentoring program has completely changed my life. Not only because it's a wonderful program filled with workshops and guest speakers who come and encourage you, but because of my relationship with my mentor Donna. Donna, you have put so much into me. You have given me your time. You showed up for me when I was organizing events. You told me how it is, and everything that you have advised me to do, everything that you've instructed me to do, I have ticked them off and achieved. Yeah, there's still a few more things outstanding, but I'm much a better person because of you and the mentorship program. And also I just want to thank my managers Jeanette and Barbara for putting me through the program, because I really came with the aim to be a mentor, but I never imagined that through this whole experience I would be a much better person. We would like to end this presentation by reciting a very special poem by the legendary Maya Angelou. Through this poem, we would like to unite and link up with our fellow mentees and dedicate it to all housing UK professionals and to everyone who is participating in this program. I will rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me to the very dirt, but still like dust, I rise.
Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room.
Just like moons and like suns, the certainty of the tide. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise.
Did you want to see me broken? Bowed heads and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries.
Does my heightness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. I rise, I rise, I rise.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like the air, I'll rise.
Does my sexiness upset you? Or does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds in the meeting of my thighs?
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. I am an ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide.
Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and hope of the ordinary person. I rise, I rise, I rise.
We rise, we rise, we rise.
We rise, we rise, we rise.
We rise, we rise, we rise.
We rise. We rise. We rise.
So the people you see in that video have done two things. They stepped up in their own regions, but they also stepped up to work with other people from other regions to create this wonderful videographic story that's worth listening to from beginning to end properly, with all the sound quality intact. And we'll make sure the link is somewhere where you can get it. So don't worry about that. That's just to show off to you what can be achieved when people tell you at the start of the program, I don't speak in public. And then they go and create a video like this, direct it, manage it, edit it themselves. It was the most wonderful thing. So right now, I want to thank again the mentors who've joined us today. To thank all of you, Cordelia, Tim, Tosin, who's already gone, Sheila, Lynn, for joining me today. I'd like to say thank you to all the attendees out there in Zoom land for coming and asking questions. I hope that what we've covered today convinces you that this is something that either yourself or perhaps the people you work with can sign up to do. And you've already had the sales pitch from Lynn and the others around the fact that we need some more people to sign up, especially in the London South East area. You can be retired. I did hear the question about whether or not you need to be a manager. I personally would agree that you don't need to be a manager. You need to be somebody who likes people, is empathetic, supports EDI, is a great listener. These facets, these assets are just as important. I would be dishonest if I said that mentees often can learn from someone who's been up that slippery slope, because that's where they want to be. So being a manager is an added bonus. So I would just put that in case you have somebody in front of you whose career goal is to be exactly that, CEO in 5 years or something. So that can be useful. But, I always say, no point having a senior manager or an exec who has no people skills. That's pointless for me. Much rather the other way around. So hopefully that answers that question. I'd like you to also perhaps promote, as I say, to perhaps retired friends in related sectors, construction, architecture, these disciplines which are aligned to housing works very well. We've got mentors from those disciplines too signed up, and perhaps your own staff, if you're the top manager in your organisation, maybe consider this for your managers beneath you, because it's a great developmental experience for them too, as you heard. And I think, and I totally agree, and I'm bound to say this, that the mentors get as much as the mentees do from the process of allowing themselves to be challenged, to be open, and to be almost reverse mentored. And that's a thing, isn't it, Ben? Something we might do in the future. So if you're prepared to be reverse mentored through the experience of sharing your experience and knowledge with mentees, you will have an amazing time, like Cordelia also mentioned.
If you're not sure about doing it, just do it.
Thank you. Nice one, Sheila. Yeah. Anybody want to help me sell this a little bit more? Yeah, I'm not telling you what to do. Part of the anxiety or concern or being dragged into doing it like Lynn is the excitement. So don't worry about that, being nervous and apprehensive. It just shows that you're really interested. So just do what you need to do. Join this amazing gang of people. There are many more people out there that perhaps we could have asked, but these were the ones that came to my mind and who said yes. So I'm very grateful to them for joining us today. And thank you for coming, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of you signed up as mentors soon, if not your colleagues or relatives who are in the sector. Please join us so we can help our mentees become the people we'd like them to be. Thank you, Shay. Thanks.
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're worried that you're going to be left out there on your own, don't be. HDN provide a lot of support. There's always someone you can talk to. Even if it's not your regional coordinator, you can talk to one of the others. They're all really supportive. It's a really good team. And on a personal note, I recommend just do it.
Oh, thanks, Cordelia. And of course, there's me. Ultimately, if yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. And thanks again to the wonderful Lynn, Tim, Cordelia, Sheila, and Tosin when she was here, and Michael for stepping up and trying to help us out with the video. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you on the programme soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, Maureen. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Sheila. Bye, Tim. Bye. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
For sharing.
See you soon.